Well guys, good morning. It's quite late in the morning really. It's more lunch in the woods today. I've got a small pack up lunch and I've got a few projects to do. Tarps and try out this millbank bag that was sent to me free from Sue and Stuart Neal, and I'm going to put it through its paces, or start to today, and more on that in a minute. I've come across some wild edibles and some almost wild edibles. One is more a word of warning and the other one is going to be part of my lunch. So without further ado, and greetings from Alfie the Wonder Hound, who was caught peeing. There's the reason for always washing your wild edibles that have grown below the knee. Alfie! There you go, boy. Right, here we go. Got down here hedge garlic, and I'm going to have this leaf, I think, and this leaf, and that leaf, and whoopsie, and that leaf. Slip them in my pocket because I'm going to have those with my cheese sandwich. Right, panning round, we've got cow's parsley here, but a word of warning, it is an umbellifer, and the umbellifers contain one of the most poisonous plants in the world, the hemlock waterdrop wort. Every part of the plant is poisonous and there is no known antidote. So my advice is to know your umbellifers so well that you could never make a mistake. It's the same as eating fungi. If you're 99% certain, it is not enough. Anyway guys, that's the cow's parsley, an umbellifer, part of the carrot family, and be very aware of it. Right folks, I'm going to try the millbank bag out now. What I'm going to do is I've got my pocket sink. I should fill that up and load the millbank back up at my little campsite, due to the fact that it's quite a way to go. Well, it's not that far, but by the time I get up there most of the water would have dripped out the millbank bag. It's perfect actually, this. So I'm going to fill my sink up and get up to the campsite and go over the millbank bag. See you in a minute guys. Right guys, something else to add to my little salad, some beech leaves. Now these are just about right. Well, coming close you can see there's a slightly furry edge to the leaf. That means they're still edible. They're quite refreshing and they have a slightly sweet flavour. In fact, if I was to have half a bottle of gin indoors, I'd try and make some beech leaf noyelle. But it means I'm picking a lot of beech leaves and they're just on the turn now, so next week they will be past it. Anyway, look on the net for the noyelle. It's a liqueur very similar to sloe gin, but using beech leaves instead of sloes. And next year I'm definitely going to make some. So these few I do for my lunch, and I have those few and oops, those few. Right, there you go guys. It's nice here, look at it, it's beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. Right, and there's Alfie wandering around. Well guys, there it is, the millbank bag, kindly given to me by Sue and Stu Neal. Catch them on the Facebook forum UK Bushcraft. They're the guys that founded it. It's a nice little bag. I've pre-soaked it at home and I've given it a good wet through, and as you saw earlier I've collected my water in my sink. Now, very useful, these pocket sinks that you can buy. They can hold quite a bit of water. They're great because they take up no space, well, very little space in your pack, and yet they can perform many duties. And as I say, I'm going to put this through its paces today and try it out. No breakfast, just lunch as I mentioned earlier, and those few leaves that I picked to go with my other leaves from home. So I'm going to set this up now and we're going to see what happens with it. Okie doke guys, see you in a bit. Well, this is the water in here. Obviously the good thing about this is I can reverse the bag, so you know there's no dirt on the outside, and this will be used for catching the water. So what I'm going to do now is to definitely tip this. Actually it's come out quite turbid, so it's going to be a really good test for this. Turn the thing inside out. Give it a little flick. Right, there we go. Right, and it's working quite well. So far so good, Sue. The thing with millbank bags, it only takes out the lumpy bits. It does not filter your water. You will either need to bring your water up to a rolling boil or have some other filtration system like a catted-in, which if you had a catted-in you wouldn't need the millbank bag anyway, but it's working very well. There are some other thoughts on this which I shall talk about later. While it's doing its thing, I'm going to set up a little mess burner, and the purposes of today's video is to talk about a survival item to take out with you, or a sort of tag, and also going over my new tarp. I'm going to rig up my new tarp, put the cordage on and go over it. Okie doke guys, see you in a bit. A small close up. The water is flowing through there quite nicely. In fact it's going through that very well indeed. Almost like someone's turned a tap on. Anyway, I might even, if there's enough there in a minute, I'm going to fill my little pot up and have a brew. Right, water's on the boil, and it's from the little stream. I'm quite impressed with the millbank bag. It really chucked the water through pretty quick, and it's just right. Over a period of time it will start to drip. In fact it's starting to drip now, but it's still going good. In fact I'll pan around and you can see, very impressed by this millbank bag. It's going to be a part of my kit now, after it's dried off obviously. So all I've got to do is wait for the water to boil, and while I'm doing it I'm going to get a few things ready. Right, as we all know, this is the most important part of collecting water from the wild. Make sure you've got a rolling boil. You don't have to boil it for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, an hour or whatever. I always like to have about 30 seconds to a minute after the rolling boil has stopped. Remember, when you're heating the water it gets up to the rolling boil, so on the way up it's killing all it needs to kill. So here we go. Right, there's my lid. Right, pop the lid on to put the fire up. There we go. Brewed. Now for the taste test. Yeah, not bad actually. Surprisingly it doesn't taste like iron. Most of the water around here is quite a rusty look to it. Very tasty though. Of course it's tea, so why wouldn't it be tasty? Actually quite nice. Highly recommended. Woodland water and tea. Hi guys, right, a few weeks back I bought one of these. It's another tarp. It's slightly larger than my hoochie, but not as big as my 4x4 tarp, which is silver in colour. Great bit of kit. I bought some of this. I did buy some military rope from the same shop, but it's got so much stretch in it, it's almost like elastic, and I didn't like it. I'm going to keep the rope for other purposes. And what I did, I went to another shop, the shop that I go to regularly for bits and pieces, fuel for the mess stove and clothing and what have you. And they sell climbing rope, and they actually sell static rope, and it's got no give in it at all. So I bought this. This is the tarp line. Nice piece. It's a nice colour actually. It's quite a pleasant colour. And I bought 20 metres of 2mm static rope, which is cut into 4 pieces for the guys. And whoops, here we go. 2 short pieces of paracord to make the prusik tensioners. And in just a second, I'm going to grab another sip of my tea, and in just a second I shall rig this all up and show you how I put together the tarp system. I like my tarp systems to be complete, so just follow me guys and we'll see what we can do. Okay guys, right, I've attached this to one end of the tree using the event slippery hitch. Right, now all we've got to do is to unfold the tarp. So what I'll do is I'll put these for safekeeping at the bowl in the tree next to the tea, and we'll unhinge the tarp, so to speak. My only real complaint with this particular tarp is it's only got 4 fixings across the ridge line, which can be a bit of a pain, but it's cheap. I mean, and it's not bad. Go through that one, through that one. Hopefully I'll be able to pack this away like I do my hoochie, so that it's all there, and all I've got to do is when I get to my shelter is unpop it all and unroll it. Some people like to take the whole thing apart so they can use other configurations. But it's been my experience that, you know, if you leave it like this, you don't have to keep taking all the bits off, and it makes it a lot easier for setting up, as most of us tend to use the A-type setup when you've got a ridge line. I do have other tarps indoors. They're for experimental purposes. I'm just going to pop down the back of the tree. There we go. Whoa, just enough. Just enough. That was a close call. Now slightly longer rope. Normally I attach it to further places. So pull this out. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is the prusiks. These give tension to the thing. So what you basically do is you come through it a couple of times, like so. So you've got your prusik knot. Great. There's that one done. Through there. Little overhandy type knot that will not come undone. You can actually super glue the knots as well. We'll set a small I'll say go that one, and I shall go to the other end. And I hope you can hear me, because I do believe I'm out of camera shot on this one. Overhandy type knot. I hope you can all hear this. I haven't done an audio test or anything for this today. So there we go. Oops, daisy. I must make sure it's not a reef knot. they stick. Hence the use of super glue as well, this lot there. So there we go. Nice bit of tension there now. Right. This cordage is 2mm cordage, static cord. In fact, I'm quite impressed with this. It's nice and bendy. I've used other 2mm cord that's had a nice, it's been just as good, but it hasn't had the flexibility of this. This is almost silk-like. I'm very impressed with it. It's a wonderful piece of cordage. Basically what I've got is four 5-metre lengths, and it gives you enough length just in case a tree or your stakes are just a little bit further away than you want. What I tend to do is for each corner is to thread it through the corner guy lines. But the trouble with cordage, it likes to knit itself. I'm convinced that if you left a whole box of this, you would get a rather nice thing. So basically through there like that, then you tie a bow line, which is the rabbit, which is the rabbit trick. So what I'm going to do is I'll just do this. So around the other way. There you go. Might do a little loop where it comes out the hole, around the tree, and back down the hole again. There we go, that's one done. Right, I'll be back in a bit. I'm going to do the other 4, have the rest of my tea, and I'll be setting the tarp up. Okay, guys. Right, there you go, guys. Not the prettiest of setups, but it shows you the actual setup itself. Obviously, you've got the ridge line there. Ideally, I would like to have had a loop about there, halfway through, so you don't get that dip, but that's just cosmetic, really. Right, come down to the corner. There we go, we've got the bow line here and a half prusik there. Nice piece of 2mm cord, as I mentioned earlier. Right, prusik knot tensioner there. If I come along to the other end, and you've got a prusik knot tensioner there. This is 1/2 metre longer than my other tarp, and it's just the right length to get the whole of the hammock under. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this away now and have some thoughts and a few bits and pieces. Okie doke. Well, there you go, guys, packed away almost as neatly as my hoochie. It's going to take a few experiments to getting that put away. Took a bit of folding due to the lack of loops, but there you go. One new tarp all set up and ready to go. I don't know whether you can see that, folks, but it's a buff-tailed bumblebee. There she goes, looking for somewhere to hole up, I should think. Very carefully move these. There she is. The reason why we need to come out into the woods. So, what have I done? I think I'm going to do my little chat like this. Yes, it's been a pretty good week. Some thoughts. Been going through my head of late, and it's most noticeable through some of the bushcrafty groups and forums online, particularly on Facebook. I think most of them have forgotten one thing: simplicity. Bushcraft, wilderness living, all those sort of skills is down to simplicity. You know, it's not the latest shiniest piece of kit that you got, but how you use it, and also taking as little as you need out with you. You don't have to take loads of gear. You know, it's great just to see what little amount of gear you can do. To the end, I'm taking up this sort of a tab of sorts. In a minute I shall do this little review on this sort of tab thing going around at the moment, on the piece of a kit you would take to survive in the woods, and I'm taking it to its extreme. It is the one piece of kit apart from the clothing you stand in that I would take out into the local woods to survive for a few days or a few weeks. It's the one item that you need, and I shall go through that in a minute. Anyway, as some of you may know, and my darling lovely Avalon does know, is I'm a bit of a bibliophile. You know, I can't go into a bookshop and not buy a book. And I bought some the other day, a book called Bugs Britannica by Richard Mabey, and also Birds Britannica, also by Richard Mabey. These aren't backpack books, these are big books for sitting on the lap in the living room and browsing through. I want to get the Flora Britannica, and that completes the trio. They're also co-authored as well, so Richard Mabey's the author that runs through the series, and he's got a co-author on each book. And then I picked up this book. Great little book for the brownies. And if I come down, so I've opened it up on Share the Magic of Fire. Shows you how to do some feather sticks, how to get a fire going, how to cook over the fire. If you go further into the book, decorate a stick tree with stick stars. Wild weaving, make stick and paper lanterns, which I've done in the past with various groups. Invent stick games. This is playing Aunt Sally. A bit further on, musical sticks, rattles, drums, sort of guitars for the tin can. It's a great resource book for doing forest type skills, and it's going to be utilised within the brownies. So, what else has been happening in the world of bushcraft and men? I've had a fancy for a while to get an air rifle, and I'm exploring slowly places that I may be able to shoot over. I think there's nothing more satisfying than actually catching something for the pot. We've lost that ability to take satisfaction over catching our food. We've seen plenty of videos about wild edibles, you know, the various bits of vegetation you can eat, from a humble piece of hedge garlic right through to picking chickweed, and hopefully, if you can get it, pine needles. But these pine needles are well out of reach, and unless I've got very long legs or a ladder, I'm stuffed. But often the meat side, the protein rich side, often gets neglected, and it can be horrific to show these videos. You know, people chuck their hands up in horror at seeing a rabbit being skinned, or pigeon being made ready for the pot, or even a squirrel or fish. But when push comes to shove, we go to the local supermarket and we buy it all ready prepared. We haven't seen the business end yet. Very few people, in fact, no, I'll turn it around. The majority of people are cut off from the reality of the meat gathering that they do when they go shopping for food. They do not understand where their meat comes from. They lost the association of the piece of beef cattle in the field and what they see on their dinner plate. I think on the whole, people that study wilderness skills have more of an awareness of the association of where their food comes from. Anyway, there's some nice shout outs to go. I love your, particularly Sarah, I loved your last couple of videos. And Mike, it's a wonderful little camp setup you got. Love to be able to do the same here, but can't. It's very difficult to do that here in the UK. It's where I do my little bit of bushcrafty wilderness type living is public woodland, and hence I have to be quite discreet most of the time. But anyway, in a couple of days, Friday I'm going up to the Lake District for a few days. Gonna do a bit of chop down a tree basically and try my axe out. Anyway, I think that's it for today as far as talks go. There's plenty about, there's plenty to do, but what we've got to do is get out and do it. It's there's a lot of armchair bushcrafters out there who watch the videos and dream, but instead of dreaming, get out and do it. It can be hard work, and sometimes you have to really stir the inner man or inner woman to get out and do your bushcraft, do your wilderness living, do your wild camping or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to go and cook me up another brew with the spring water, which I gathered earlier. Well pleased with that, Sue. And also going to do another short video which will not be on this one. It will be an entirely separate video on the item that I would take out into the woods. So guys, have a great week, and have an even better weekend if you don't work weekends. Sadly, I work most of my weekends, so it does have its advantages of being able to get out into the woods during the week when there's few people around. And hopefully in a couple of weeks' time I'll be taking the boat out on its maiden voyage. As yet, work's got in the way. TTFN guys, till soon. And from me and down there, Alfie the Wonder Dog, who I've had to tie up because he was wandering off. He was sneaking away somewhere, and he has a habit of disappearing for quite a while when I'm out. Anyway, I shall see you in a bit, guys. Well, my friends, the last of the bluebells. Typical of English woodland, I suppose, in the south of England, and very nice. Somewhere there, guys, is a carp. Don't know whether the camera's going to pick this up or not. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit. I'm not sure whether the camera's picking this up. There's a potential dinner there. There it is. Well, I'm doing better than the fisherman. I think I've got myself a carp, even if it's only on film.